Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of our podcast, the show where we dive into the latest trends and insights shaping our world. I am your host, Farooq Sheikh, and I'm thrilled to have you join us today. Today, we are exploring the fascinating realm of digital transformation in the modern era, from AI and machine learning, revolutionizing industries, to the critical role of cybersecurity in protecting our future digitals. We will uncover how businesses are navigating through this transformative landscape. To delve deeper into this topic, we have a very special guest. So, I'm honored to welcome Mr. Sayantan Chatterjee, Executive Director at PwC India. With over a decade of experience in the digital transformation, Mr. Chatterjee has consistently delivered transformative results through his expertise in business strategic initiatives, operational reality, and optimizing the interplay of people, process, technology, and governance. So without wasting more time, let's go to our special guest and learn more about it. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, so here I start off with my first question. So you are into this field for quite a long time. So what are the most significant trends driving digital transformation business today, and how they are reshaping the traditional industries? What's your take on this?
So I think before we get into this, I think there's a very fundamental terminology, which is transformation, which is linked to digital. Now, digital is obviously maybe a new avatar. We had IT, we had cyber, we had so many things that's there. But the heart of it is the word transformation. And that's where all businesses today are looking at that to do business better, to do business in an effective manner, in a more engaging manner, how and what they should be changing. Now, transform is the word today that at the heart of it is the change. So what all do I need to be doing as a business to be getting on that bandwagon of change, getting on that bandwagon of reinventing themselves, getting on the bandwagon what we call as a refresh button. So across the board, what organizations are doing is literally pressing that refresh, rewire, and basically reinvent themselves. So all lot of things. And that's where the transformation story is starting with. And digital per se is one of the biggest levers of transformation. So you take any industry, you take it a banking industry, you take our commerce, you take our hospitality, you take healthcare. Every industry today, every industry player is looking to either transform themselves or they are at the peril of being overtaken by someone who has transformed. So the heart of it is transformation, change for the betterment, change for the growth. And digital is the biggest lever. Sorry if I can take that liberty of using that terminology, of being one of the biggest levers of this transformation. Because think about the current business reality. Everything that we do as a business is powered by digital. So whether how we reach to customers, how we do our production line planning, how we basically do our entire inventory management, how we do our entire financial controlling, everything is digitally enabled. So the long winding question, the answer to your question would be that digital is at the heart of the entire transformation that is fueling industry across. And that's, I think it's an industry, it's a very interesting time that how as we as industry stakeholders need to be part of this change, need to be part of this revolution. And digital is the one that's fueling it. That's my take on it.
Absolutely correct, Nils. So how do we measure the success of digital transformation initiatives? What do you see? If you're measuring some kind of success in this, is there any parameter what you see, or it's just a wave, or what exactly it is?
See, there are three things that any organization looks to measure for any initiative, leave digital transformation. Any initiative, which is a business initiative I'm talking about, needs to have the business impact, needs to have its customer stakeholder connect and adoption. And third, most importantly, it should fuel the growth and the vision of what I'm doing as an organization. So with all of these three parameters, if I were to look at, what every client is now asking is they're not worried about whether a project, a transformation initiative got done in the timelines with the budget. Obviously, I'm not demeaning that. that remains. But the biggest question, biggest, I would say, yardstick, and this is something which has become a board level discussion. It is no longer just a CIO or a CDO. They may be the most important stakeholder there. But if you look at the management or the board or any of the for any of these organizations, what they're asking for it is that doing this transformation, what are the business imperatives that changed? And how they are doing that is something which is very critical to say that before we get on to any of these journeys, where and all are we with regard to some of the business KPIs? Now, what I mean by that is that where am I with regards to maybe my production capabilities, maybe with regards to some of the, I would say, customer outreach, maybe with regards to in terms of some of the things in terms of how I'm doing from my channel sales, so on and so forth. They're all business terminology I'm talking about. Now, the most important thing before we get on any of these transformations is to say that which of these business levers I would like the needle to be moving, and also determine where am I right now as an organization, and then say that, okay, by this transformation initiative, I envision the needle to be moving on these 3, 4 business parameters by this X, Y, Z percentage. So being very clear on that, very definitive. And then as we go ahead in this transformation journey, having a very clear yardstick to be able to measure the business outcomes to it. Just giving a simple example. Suppose tomorrow I do a digital transformation around the sales force, just as an example of an organization. It can be a sales force for a retail, it can be for a pharma company. Now, the measure of success which you asked is not how maybe I implemented A solution or a B solution. The measure of success is that did it help the sales force in their productivity, in maybe increasing their revenue sales, in maybe being able to reach to new territories. So all business KPIs is what is the measure of success. So for any digital transformation, the simple word should be, and that is something which is not me, it's basically how industry is now measuring. Define and baseline where am I from a business KPIs. Have a realistic expectation that what will a transformation help me achieve. Have realistic timelines. So after 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, or 18, see how the needle moves on them. And that is the real success of a transformation. And that is how the industry is looking at it.
That's so amazing. One more thing means as a business, like our first priority is to give the hands-on experience to the customer, right? So the clients, what we can say. So what do you see? How have clients changed their expectation from digital transformation? Like everything is going digital right now. Even the healthcare segment, if you say the prescription is going digital, if you say the mobile and the hologram and all those things, even the meetings are going digital, the new technologies are coming. So what do you see? What kind of things are there? What's your take on this?
So if you really ask me, Farooq, 5 years, 6 years back, not many sectors would have really given too much of a bother. I'm not saying they would have been ambivalent about the experience. So they would have said, okay, fine, does it help me in my growth story? Does it help with my operation? Does it help with my regulation? Fine. But one of the most important thing, which is like the biggest elephant in the room for any of the CDOs or the CIOs or the CEOs, is to say that what is the experience I'm providing to my stakeholders, and not just the customers. It is the experience that I provide to my vendor partners, to my suppliers, to any of my stakeholders, and that is at the heart of it. In fact, we call it what in our organization we have what is known as a BXT, which is the business experience technology, and at the heart of it is X, which is to say that what is the experience that I am delivering to my stakeholders, and I'm using the word stakeholders, not just customers, on the whole. And how does digital help you in that is that being able to replicate that, being able to have a seamless experience driven, not something which is only person dependent, but something which is brand dependent. Now use the word like hospitality or healthcare. Now just take an example. So let's take an example of a hospitality, and I'll come to healthcare as well. That if I walk into any of the I would say uh, properties or chains by any hospitality industry, what is the experience I would like to get associated with? And can I say that this is the experience that the brand A is giving me? And that's something which is unique and consistent across the different channels. Now, whether I experience that in one of their physical centers or I go to their website or I call the call center, can I look at creating that unique brand experience? B is being able to provide that in a consistent manner, and C, being able to say to tell my customers and my stakeholder that hey, this is the experience that I'm promising you, and this is all powered by digital. So that is what I'm looking at. Same goes for a healthcare entity. So I walk into any of a clinic and a hospital, does the experience remain same? And here I can say this is the experience that A is giving me. I call it, in fact, some people do a wonderful job of branding themselves that this is the A way or the X way. I'm not naming that. And what is that? That is something which is the experience that you are providing using digital. Now, how digital? Now, basically, whether it's through any of the new age technologies, where through an AR, VR, I can replicate that, or through using the simple I would explain that I give on my app, that's digital. Or when I walk in, I experience the same look and feel. So whether it's a online channel, whether it's a I would say face-to-face channel, it's what is known as the omni-channel experience, as we call it.
Correct.
And that's really the buzzword today, which is driving every CXO of an organization to be, I would say, striving for one of the most important aspects.
Got it, sir. Got it, sir. Moving on, so you have seen the complete paradigm shift. You're coming from an era where the digital things was not so much, okay, and then these things like AI and machine learning and all those things are coming. So you have seen a complete change in the entire industry, I can say. So how is digital transformation like? Can you explain how AI and machine learning are influencing digital transformation strategy in various sectors? How the companies are getting benefits, how what kind of things, what are the things will be in the future also. So if you can give your touch past, present, and the future past segment.
Correct. So first of all, I will just take a myth that AI is something new.
Yeah.
AI has been there for quite some time.
Okay.
Maybe it was at the background. It is now at the foreground of anything and everything we do. So think about it. When did the first, I would say, online map start? Or when did the first search engine start? Or the first browser start for that matter. So what I'm saying is the seeds of what we call as AI has always been there. It's now that we are taking cognizance of the fact that AI is not just something which is basically helping us do a retro analysis, but it is basically something which is getting into I would say, what we call as the predictive, prescriptive, and now the Gen AI era. So, in a way, what AI, which is nothing but enabling intelligence, like if I was, what is artificial intelligence? Something which is enabling the human intelligence. And that's the way it should be understood, because there's a lot of myth in the industry that AI takes away jobs, takes away. We should see it as something which is enabling what we are doing as humanity in a business era. So be it any decision making, be it any analysis that we are doing, be it any forward planning strategy that we are doing, AI is based on the data and the insights, helps us do that in a much more informed manner. Be something in a very, I would say, simulated, where I can do a lot of what if analysis. And the most important thing, what it does is it tells me that with given all these parameters and variables, how things can shift if I were to look at A or B shifting. So it is, I would say, multiple of these things which AI is helping. Same goes for machine learning. If you think about it, like any simple shop floor machine throws up tons and tons of data, which for so many years and decades we have just neglected, like to put it for the better of lack of any better word. We didn't have the power to basically harness them and then get any meaningful use for it. Now, what machine learning did is basically being able to gather those data. So, be it some of the IoT devices to capture that, get machine learning in a meaningful way, so that right from its maintenance to the way it manufactures to the way it basically functions, everything is now embedded in it. So, what we are seeing is that more and more, and I've not even touched the hot favorite topic of Gen AI. In fact, it is just one new generation of AI that we have spoken about.
Okay.
But the entire thing, what we have been seeing is that business was and is always enabled by intelligence, which is artificial.
Right.
Now, more and more, it is coming to the forefront of every business, functions, departments, to the extent to say that, hey, if I go for any department meeting and all, hey, did you basically do this water analysis before coming in? Did you use any of the AI tools to do that? That's the question being asked. So it is not just an optional thing. People have to realize that it is something which becomes a part of your life. It's almost to say that when you use a map, I'm not meaning which map it is, you do a lot of water analysis. If I take this A route versus the B route and all C route, that's simple AI enabling in a day-to-day life. Or if you do in terms of a search, the way you get prompted, that's AI in life. So from a business point of view, it's imperative that we make AI a part of our business functions workflows and not just something which is a pile-on or add-on. A. B, we look at the insights from them in a very critical manner to say, hey, this is something which is going to help, not with a level of suspicion. C, from a people aspect, very important to understand that it is something we are not competing with.
Correct.
It's not like a man versus a machine. There's always these fancy memes and cartoons that I've always seen. It's never that. Just look at it that how can you basically upskill and be a better version of your work professional using these things. It's not going to be demeaning or devouring you as an individual or professional. It's going to make a better version for you. Think about it, like you mentioned about healthcare. Think about from the vast potential that it has, that if any of the clinicians, they're enabled with the health insights of the patient that they're seeing for maybe 5 minutes in a outpatient scenario, how much more enabled they are. We are not saying we are not replacing any of the work being done by professionals. We're just elevating the work that they do. And that's really the power of it.
So true, so true. Thank you very much. Like it's completely, it was insightful. Like it's a complete different shift right now. So I was expecting something different, but you've taken out another zone right now. So it's amazing. Now the moving on to the term, like everybody is using the cybersecurity, right? Cybersecurity, this and that. So what role does cybersecurity play in digital transformation, and what are the best practice for ensuring robust protection in rapidly evolving digital landscape? So it's a long question, but you can understand since you are into the same field.
In fact, if you really want a short, crisp answer to your long, because I have this tendency, if the question is short, I have a long answer, and the other way around. It's something cybersecurity is a non-negotiable aspect for it. So when we look at any transformation, leave alone transformation, even a business as usual aspect, cybersecurity, protection, data protection, security, and all these are absolutely non-negotiable things for us to be focusing on. So what I mean by non-negotiable is it is not at the cost of anything that when looking at cybersecurity. Because end of the data, we are in quite a few cases, I'm not saying in all, we are dealing with either users' data. It can be personal information, it can be sensitive personal information, it can be their financial data, it can be their credit data, it can be their health data, so on and so forth. So when as an organization, as a business entity, I am dealing with them, I have to be that much more secure in dealing with that. And in that respect, I should mention about the recent data protection bill that has been passed by our honorable government of India. It's a huge step. It's something which was in the offing, was very much required. I really am thankful for the government to have rolled that out, which really outlines that how we should be looking at the basic data protection to be done across industry in India. Very well articulated. The rules will just follow, I think, in the next few months and all. But what it has done, let me tell you, is that it has got the entire industry fraternity wake up and take cognizance about what all are they doing, and more importantly, what they need to be doing. So simple things is that if I have to capture, when I say capture, sorry, let me not use the word capture. If I have to access, if I have to store, if I have to take any, whether it's my customers' data, whether it is my stakeholders' data, I need to have a reason. I need to have the consent. And most importantly, I need to have the wherewithal to be able to protect that data for only the purpose that I'm using. And if this is the confidence I can give to the business fraternity, think about what boost that I'm giving. Because in India, it has been always like data has always been floundered about. And again, we are all part of it. I'm not seeing someone outside taking that. We have all been guilty about it. Because people think that anything that they share can and will be used against their will or consent. This coming in gives a lot of confidence to the end users that whatever data that they shared with a entity, a business entity or any entity, it will only be used for that purpose, and an explicit consent is needed, and most importantly, it will be protected by all the cybersecurity best practices for the duration what it is to be used, and it will not be used for any other purpose. Think about, if I'm a citizen of India, 1.4 billion I'm talking about, what confidence it gives me as that my data is safe, secure, and it has been protected by the law of the land. So it's a huge thing that we are talking about, and I can't just go on plotting more about it. Again, I'm not a proponent spokesperson for them I'm talking about, but really, I would say path-breaking thing that we are on, and we should, as all Indians, be proud of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So the data privacy is something everybody is worried about, and if you're giving a surety, then everything is done. Like people believe. Moving on, like how do the culture and organization changes with the company impact the success of digital transformation initiatives? What are the strategies can help the facilities changes as per the company point of view? So this is something you will be hearing a lot of time. So what kind of advice type of thing? So what's your take
I
on
think
this if you can?
I think Farooq, this is one of my most interesting or most close to my heart topic. That any transformation you talk about, end of the day, it is always people driven.
Correct.
It's as if I can quote the constitution, it is like by the people, of the people, for the people, something like that. So what it means is that whenever you look at a transformation, a digital enabled transformation, the first and foremost needs to be that we need to take full confidence of the people who will be part of this transformation. Because you take any industry, it is not, we are not in the age yet of robots, right? It's not like a complete plant being run by the bots or complete organization being serviced by bots, not yet. So end of the day, we are talking about business which is serviced by people and serviced for people. Think about it. So when we do a transformation, the first thing that we do is have the charter and the objectives aligned very clearly with the stakeholders internally in the organization. To say that, why are we doing that? What do we want to be achieving as that business group? And you are a very integral part of that, if I'm going to talk one to one. And third, most importantly, define what I call as the WIFM. What's in for me for each and every stakeholder who's part of this journey. So if I'm a front desk executive and I know a transformation is there and it's digitally enabled, so there will be a front office transformation, so on and so forth. What does it mean for me? No way is your job threatened. No way is your relevance belittled. You are going to be a vital cog. So how does it impact and how does it empower me? If these are the forward-looking terminologies that I use, it's a culture is different. Second most important thing after inclusion is the concept of trust. So the management needs to give that trust to each and every individual. This transformation is for a fair and a very transparent objective and no ulterior motives being hidden. So that is the trust. And the last but not the least is to say that how do we link the success of every individual to the transformation we are talking about? And not something say that it is something which is completely daily. What I mean by it is that how do I say that you will be better equipped to do your day-to-day job? You will be better equipped to maybe produce what you're doing. You will be better equipped to service your customers, reach out to them using transformation that we're talking about. So we are enabling them. So that is the culture we are talking about, which is inclusion, trust, and something which enables success. If we can keep these three things in mind, any digital transformation will be driven at a much faster speed. And we don't have to bother about whether it was adopted or not. Adoption will be there. People will be very forthright to take that up. And trust me, in some of these cases, what we have seen, the business KPIs that I spoke in the big name would be much easily achieved because you're the full backing of the people who are the heart of the organization. And that's what the real business transformation would be about.
Wow, so you just gave me a something like a mantra, like trust, inclusion, and the things are digital, the inclusion and all those things. So it's just kind of a mantra if you want to go on digital transformation. So far we have touched the AI, machine learning, cybersecurity, small and medium enterprise, like all those innovation journey. Moving on to the final questions, because so far we have touched almost all segment from my point of view. So, looking to the future, what emerging technologies do you believe will play a pivotal role in the next wave of digital transformation? Completely your point of view, and if you can add some means one small story of your personal experience, that would be really great.
See, again, I'm not an Nostradamus, Farooq, to be predicting future.
Yeah,
And I have no qualms in basically accepting that. But if I were to say the current trends, I think the way it is going, in fact, I don't need to be, and I don't need to just underline that, but obviously the way the entire Gen AI has taken over, and it's something which has made it. So people had their own suspicion. There were people who were sitting on the fence to say, okay, how and what is like. But now it is almost to say that it has percolated everything that we do as an organization, as an entity, and even household for that matter. So that is where if you look at the hype curve for any new technology, that is where success comes in. So it leaves the, I would say, the labs and the POCs to getting into mass consumption. And my example has been where we as an organization are able to do a lot of things internally first, because being consultants, we are always uh, perceived as people who tell others what to do. But if I'm able to do that internally first, imbibe that and tell, like, hey, I did that. So, so be it in terms of some of the, I would say, research that I might be doing, be it some of the in terms of the way I basically articulate some of the things, everything is enabled. Obviously, there's a very big part of it in terms of the governance, the accuracy part of it, which is there. I'm not demeaning any of that. But it's just shown that there is so much that the fillip that you can get. That's the one. Second thing, which is very important, which is like if I were to talk about the Gen AI aspect, is the trust which it gets built with regards to it being secure, safe and secure, which is also linked to that cybersecurity part of it. That anything that I'm talking about is something which comes in. If it is safe and secure, that gives the first confidence to the users. That's what it has been doing. It's still in infancy. And the third most important, sorry, I use most important for two, so you can make them comparative. If there is a business model, then only a take initiative, take flight. And I'm not naming, there have been so many of these fads which have come in, which really wowed us. But there was no business model to sustain it. What I mean by business model is to say that there'll always be a model to say, okay, fine, let me do a small proof of concept, let me try it out and all. But what a business model means that, hey, can it be scaled? Can it be taken to the masses? Can it be made mainstream rather than a separate stream in a business viable mode? And that is where I would say any of the new, I would say, technologies really, I would say, speed, and I would say get into what is known as the mainstream life. And that's what I think we are seeing right now. God knows what comes in the future, anyways, as I'm saying. But what it has also shown, Farooq, if you see the last 3-4 years, there have been so many of them which have come in, have had reasonable success.
Correct.
So what it tells us to learn, rather than just being enamored by the tech part of it. That we are very wow, it's like a fancy gizmo. If we can say that, does it make business sense? Only then will it basically stand the test of time and become something which is mainstream. Else it will just remain in the labs and we'll all be wowed by it.
Got it,
That's
sir.
my take on it.
Oh, amazing, amazing. So far, this is the most interesting topic and the most interesting talk so far I had. I must say this is the most listen podcast for the audience. And like this, thank you very much. We have come to the end of this podcast, and thank you very much for sharing your time, sir. I know you are busy, and you have given your valuable time to us and to our audience to learn more about and to get insights on all these things. So that's wrap us up today's episode on digital transformation in modern era. I hope you find our discussion with Mr. Sayantan Chatterjee insightful and inspiring. Thank you for tuning in, and if you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us to bring more in-depth conversation and valuable insights. Until next time, this is Farooq Sheikh. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us.
Thank you everyone. Pleasure talking.
Thank you.